This is an ugly wall.
It's horrible.
I want to coat it with a stone or veneer a stone to it. And to do that, we're going to use these panels. They're 6 by 24 inches long. And in the back, you can see that they're individual pieces of stone that are all epoxied together. And when you look at it in the front and it's set in place, this quartz stone looks like a dry laid wall. And it goes up very quickly. You look at this wall that we've already done. We've put on what's called, before you get to this part, there's a lot of work that has to be done to the wall. In order to get the scratch coat to stick to the wall, we have to get this wall back to bare concrete. That means we got to take this brown stain off it. See these ridges? I want to take and knock them off and smooth this wall out so we can make a nice application of that stone. And it's all going to start with power washing. We're using a special nozzle today designed for stripping paint. It has 3 jets of water that come out and rotate to help remove the stain. Dennis, is there any part of you that isn't wet?
Roger, I've been drier in the shower.
Yeah, well, you're my type of guy. There's a little bit of stain left on the wall. What I'm going to do is come behind you with this 5-inch brush on a right angle grinder and just clean it up. So stand back. Before we can do any more work, we have to make sure this wall is nice and dry, and that's why I'm using a leaf blower to speed up the process. We're ready for our next step. What we're going to do is apply a bonding agent to the old concrete, and that'll assure that there's a good connection between the old concrete and our new scratch coat. It's just right here in the bucket. Bring it over.
Let's bond.
You just take it and paint a nice thin coat, nice and evenly on the concrete. Now, even with all the pressure washing we did and grinding, there was still a little bit of color left on this wall from the stain. This bonding agent will ensure that we get full contact with our scratch coat. In 15 or 20 minutes, it'll be tacky, and that's perfect. Right now, let's go mix up our mortar for the scratch coat. Now, the 2 main ingredients to our scratch coat are masonry cement and masonry sand.
Why masonry sand?
Well, masonry sand is very fine. It has no aggregates in it, so it's perfect for this scratch coat that we're going to be doing. The other important thing you have to remember is you're mixing 1 part masonry cement to 3 parts sand. It's very important you have that formula right. We're going to mix the mortar with water, but what I've added to the water is an acrylic polymer, which is going to give our mortar more strength and flexibility. I'm going to add a little of this water to that hole in the middle. Now start mixing your dry with the wet. What we want is the mortar to have the consistency of peanut butter, so keep working it. When you need more water, we'll add it. All right, let's take a look. That looks great. Let's bring it over, put it on the wall. All right, Dennis, first thing you're going to do is load up your hawk. That's plenty. You're going to bring it over to the wall, and grab your trowel. Now, this is a notched trowel, but we're going to use the smooth side for now. So what we're going to do is place the hawk down, and we're going to wipe on the wall. You're trying to get about a good 1/2-inch layer on here, all right?
Okay.
Starting from the bottom, working your way up. Once you get that on, we'll go back and get some more mortar. Dennis, I want you to remember, we're not skimming this wall. We want a nice thick bed on there. All right, looking good. Just fill in that last little hole. Now I'm going to take this wet trowel and just smooth the mortar out. Wet your trowel. Come over to the wall. We're going to start from the bottom. What we're going to do is hold it at a 45-degree angle and just come along and make a nice series of notches in the wall. And just start at the bottom and work your way up to the top. Now here's our veneer panel. Remember that this is 6 inches wide. Now if I set this panel on top of the asphalt during the winter in a freeze-thaw cycle, or during the summer when the asphalt heats up, it could actually push up on this and pop it right off the wall. So what I did is I snapped a reference line at 6.5 inches. We're going to take and hold the panel, the top of it, up to that reference line. That's going to leave us a 1/2 inch of space underneath so that the asphalt will never push on the stone. You ready to put some stone on the wall?
I'm ready.
Let's go. Now, we're going to start on the corners. The manufacturers actually made it so that 2 pieces of stone will weave together on the corner and make a perfect match for you, so we don't have to do any cutting. So this piece gets installed first. The first thing I have to do is wipe the back of this stone with clean water. That's going to take off any dust that's going to be on the back of it, but it also wets the stone, and that helps the whole curing process and makes for a stronger bond. Now with the stone nice and clean, I just have to butter the back of it. We want to get about a 1/2 inch of mortar on here. That looks pretty good. Now we're just going to bring it over to the wall, and we're going to take and stick it right in place. Now what I want you to do is take this piece, clean it off, and then butter the back of it for me so we can marry it right up in this corner. Slide it right over, up. All right, come to me with the bottom of it. I'm going to close this up. That's perfect right there. All right, now I'm going to take this shim and slide it right underneath the stone. That's going to give us good equal spacing all the way along and also hold this in place so we can build on top of it. All right, let's get another stone. All right, set it right in. All right, now take it to you just a little bit. Hold on. Now push it down tight. I'll take the rubber hammer and tap her back. Get it nice and seam nice and tight. Okay. Now the majority of the pieces we're going to be using today are 24 inches long. They're going to make up the whole field. But here in the corners it's a little different. The corners are made up of 8-inch and 16-inch pieces. Here in our first course I have an 8-inch piece, and then the second part of the corner is a 16-inch piece. And it's just reversed in the next course. Here I have a 16-inch piece, and then on the front part I'm going to install an 8-inch piece. And that'll ensure that all of our joints are staggered. Looking good, Dennis. How are you making out?
Good. These straight runs really fly.
Dennis, the wall looks great. Now that's the last piece we can put in the wall part. It's time to think about the cap. The manufacturer sent us the same stone, but it's wide and it's got a rock face edge on it to hang over the wall. This is going to be our cap. You can see the front edge is sawn cut. So when we bring the two together, we're able to make a nice mortar joint. So take a couple shovelfuls and put it on top. Now with all the mortar up here, grab your hand trowel. All right, Dennis, this looks good. Let's take and drop this in. What I'm looking for is about an inch overhang. So bring that out a little bit. Okay, now take your hammer. Let's tap this right down into that bed of mortar. Go ahead, all the way, all the way. Keep banging. Okay, that looks pretty good.
Roger, the full-size pieces, we can't get any more in here.
Right, what I'm gonna have to do is cut tapered pieces, fillers, to fit underneath the cap and on the top of the wall. I take a couple measurements, do a layout, cut it with a diamond blade, and then the pieces will look just like this. Well, what do you think?
Roger, it's amazing. This wall, far cry from that ugly wall that was here this morning.
Well, it was a lot of work, but it was worth every minute of it.